All right, guys. So next up, what we got is NFL coaches on the hot seat this season, or at the end of the season, I should say. And Nick, you can go first on this. Who you got?
Yeah, so I got up to 8 coaches right now that I believe can be on the hot seat come the end of the season. Starting with the AFC, I think Kevin Stefanski and the Browns, this is their second straight really disappointing year despite the talent they have on the team. I think he could be on the hot seat. His first year with Cleveland, he did lead them to the playoffs. That was when Baker Mayfield was still with them. Baker Mayfield led the Browns to, like, the first playoff win for that franchise in decades. And since then, they've had back-to-back disappointing seasons. So I think Kevin Stefanski of the Cleveland Browns is on the hot seat this offseason. I think
Mm-hmm.
it goes without saying Jeff Saturday is an interim head coach right now, and I think it's terrible head coach. I don't think there's maybe Urban Meyer is probably just worse than him. But
Right.
he's a terrible head coach, and I think he's on the hot seat for the Indianapolis Colts. Houston Texans, I think Lovie Smith is on the hot seat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like when they hired him in the first place, they didn't even really want him, but they didn't get anybody they wanted, so they just kind of hired him. And I do believe he wasn't ever given a fair shot. Then from the AFC West, a division that I think a lot of people thought would be really good this season, that really has been about the same as it's been all year. I think the Denver Broncos, Nathaniel Hackett, Las Vegas Raiders, Josh McDaniels, and Los Angeles Chargers, Brandon Staley, are all going to be on the hot seat this year. We know with the Broncos, they're 3-10. I think Hackett is for sure gone. I think Josh McDaniels, I think he's going to get another year, but I certainly think there will be questions about his job security. And for the Chargers, Brandon Staley was given a team with Justin Herbert at quarterback. He's been unable to get Justin Herbert to the playoffs, and the Chargers are in danger of missing the playoffs again. So I think he could be
Mm-hmm.
out. And then switching over to the NFC, no one I see in the NFC East that I think could be fired right now. But I do think when you go to the NFC South, I actually believe that potentially maybe even all the coaches in that division on the hot seat. I know it's kind of unpopular to say this, but I think Todd Bowles of the Buccaneers is on the hot seat because Bruce
Mm-hmm.
Arians kind of retired out of nowhere last year. And Bowles was kind of just like, all right, you're on the staff, so you're replacing him because you have head coaching experience. But I don't think he's a good head coach at all. I think Steve Wilkes is currently the interim in Carolina, but I think he deserves the head coaching job. He's done a fantastic job with that team since taking over. The Falcons are just the Falcons, and then the Saints, they were just kind of forced into hiring the Dennis Allen when Sean Payton retired. And then for the NFC West, the only team I see that has a coach on the hot seat is the Arizona Cardinals with Cliff Kingsbury. This is since their 7-0 start last year. This has been really 1.5 disappointing seasons for them. They're 1-12 in their last 13 home games. And it just hasn't worked out. They brought in Cliff Kingsbury because of Kyler, but that just hasn't worked out. Now we know Kyler has a torn ACL, so he's out for the rest of the season. I think it's a tough spot for the Cardinals, and I think Cliff Kingsbury could be on his way out.
Yeah, and I mean, I only got four head coaches, all of which you mentioned, unpopular opinion you said, but I completely agree with Todd Bowles from the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have obviously had a disappointing season. Um, feel like all of that is not on Todd Bowles. Some of that's on Tom Brady. He's taking kind of a decline this season, but I still feel like Todd Bowles will be fired. Jeff Saturday, as you pointed out, interim head coach. They didn't really know who they were hiring. He was kind of just hired off the street. I for sure think he's gone after this year. Lovey Smith from the Texans, the Texans are bad this year. Lovey Smith is probably on his way out. And last, I got Cliff Kingsbury. You know, he's had Kyler Murray. As you're pointing out, they went 7-0 last season. Had a really disappointing season this year. Probably gonna miss the playoffs. And yeah, I got Cliff Kingsbury probably on his way out.